you all are going great and it's very very interesting learning maths. But today let me change the topic and let me change the subject also, because you know that it's like it doesn't feel good like if we are continuously in one topic. So we should learn about other topics and you should see my skills in other topics also. So today I have English, and in English we're going to learn tips for attempting a close passage, tips for attempting a passage comprehension, unseen passage, and exercises related them. So for that you should know what is a closed passage. What's a closed passage? So a closed passage, it's a part of a vocabulary tense where students are required to fill the blanks, spaces given within the sentences or the passage. So closed passage basically a thing in which we're having the vocabulary test, in which we have to solve that vocabulary test, and there are some questions that are being asked from us related to that vocabulary. So let me tell you some tips and tricks to attempt a closed passage. Like first of all, that's very important about your concentrate. So first of all, you have to read you have to read the topic or passage thoroughly, and then you have to get an idea about the passage, that what can be this passage about. And then as it is a passage, so all the sentences here are linked with one another, like they are having some combination together. Then you have to read each sentence with focus and try to figure out which word can be placed in the blank. So you have to put a focus, you have to look for the vocabulary words. If they are matching, then you have to write, and you have to look at the sentence if it's making sense or not. If it's making sense, of course you have to write. If it's not making, so check for another. Then fourth one is that you have to cross out the word in the box once it's used in the passage, because one word cannot be used two times. So what you have to do is basically you have to cross the word that you know that this word is already in its suitable position. So let me give you a closed passage. So you have to complete the passage with the given words only once. Okay, they are used only once, like switch. Then we're having gifts, world, cold-blooded, reverse. Okay, so here I'm having a passage like sharks live all over the dash one, from one tropical longs to polar seas. So all over, of course world would come over here, because all our basically hurt can be all our cold blooded, or all our rivers, all our switches, our gifts. So you have to check for that takes or makes us sense. So then we are having some even inhabit fresh water lakes and dash rivers, because you have to look for, here they have given us freshwater lakes, and it tells us about the river. That of course for this a meaningful word that you can use with it is a river. Then we are having like other fishes, sharks, and dash have fins and breathe with. Look, first of all, look at this, like other fishes, sharks, and of course cold-blooded animals. Okay, because you know now, because it's going to be cold-blooded animals, because here we have to look for these things, because here no other word is matching. Gales, switch, rivers, are these matching? No. So that's why I have to use cold-blooded with dash, because if we are talking about fish, a fish breathe with which thing? Gills. So here gills is going to come. So a shark skeleton is made of cartilage. A shark's body space reduced drag and requires minimum energy to dash. To swim, of course, because swim is left, so we have to check for swim. If you are not able to do like this, you can just do like an example. Like you can first of all read a passage. First you have to read a passage, then you have to look at the words, are they matching? If they're matching, write them. If they're not matching, then concentrate on them and make some usage. So what is meant by comprehension? Like, we are doing comprehension today. So what's meant by comprehension? Have you ever thought what is comprehension? So let me tell you what is comprehension. So in case of passage comprehension, it means we are going to understand of writing the passage. Take care, we have to understand the passage and we have to write it. This understanding is then tested by the given certain activities and questions to attempt this today. So first of all, passage comprehension means we have to put a focus and we have to understand that. After that, they are going to take our test. They're going to take our test by giving us little bit activities for the students, so we have to solve them, and then this is called comprehension. So this is basically a passage comprehension. So tips and tricks to attempt an unseen passage comprehension. Now look at this. So first of all, you have to go through the questions given at the end of the passage. So whatever questions are given at the end of the passage, you have to go through them first. You have to listen through you have to listen to the questions first, because whenever you're going to read the passage, so you're going to have a better understanding. So then reading the questions will help you look at for the required information when you will read the passage. So whatever questions you are reading, that are going to help you, because after that, whenever you're going to read the passage, the given information will be put in there, so you can easily write that. Okay, then you have to read the passage with full concentration. Full focus should be on the passage. You have to just understand that passage, and after first reading and reading the given question, read the passage again, because you may have some difficulties, you may have some problems in that, some issues, so that's why. Then tips and tricks to attempt to unseen passage, like you can even though you can, while reading the passage again, you can underline the information or words that are needed. So whatever information or words that are needed, you can underline them, because they may used in the questions and you have to write their answers. Then you have to read the longer paragraphs again and again. So whatever long if there are longer paragraphs, you have to read them again and again if there are still some confusion. Okay, so you have to listen the questions, these type of long questions, again and again, because there may be some confusion. So when ready, answer the easier question first. Whenever you are ready to give the right answer, yes, the paragraph is clear to me, now it's time to write. So first of all, you have to attempt the easiest question first. Getting started. What do you think is happening in the picture and why? So here I can see a cartoon character which is present in Teen Titans, and his name is Beast Boy, and Beast Boy is crying. And why? Because he is cutting the onion, and like onion has some water inside it that is very harmful for the eyes, and you automatically your tears come out. So that's why. And why do you think our eyes water get out when we cut onion? Because of course I tell you the answer, because there is some type of watery acid present inside the onion, and when that comes in our eyes, so automatically we start crying. So you have to check out the story title and the given picture. So I think there is something is being cooked, and like we have to tell it, what do you think the story is about? So I think the story is about the chef cooking something, because here's the chef, you may have the order, or a mother is cooking something for her house. You can give it any title that you want. Onion soup. So listen it clearly, because you have to look at the exercises. I'm also having some exercises here, girls. So first, let's come to the first part of this. So, onion soup. Listen to me very carefully, guys. Mr. Brown grew great big onions. Every day, Mr. Brown watered the onions. Winter came. It's time to make my favorite onion soup, said Mr. Brown. She dug up her onion with a bulldozer and cut off their tops with a chainsaw. I'm tired after all these onions work, said Mr. Brown. I'll make my soup in the morning. So this was the first paragraph, and here you can look at this red curling and blue curling. So why is there less red curling? Because these are the important points that may be used over here, and the question asked over here can be of one of these. And you can see that I didn't tell you this point in the middle because there should be no, you should not interrupt when someone is reading something or saying something. So that's why I was doing on my own, but I didn't interrupt because I want your full focus on the work that I'll be doing right now. So I hope so it's clear to you. If it's not clear, I'm reading it once again, and then we're going to come to the activities. So onion soup. Mrs. Brown grew great big onions. Every day Mr. Brown watered the onions. Winter came. It's time to make my favorite onion soup, said Mr. Brown. She dug up her onions with a bulldozer and cut off their tops with a chainsaw. I'm tired after all these onion work, said Mrs. Brown. I'll make my soup in the morning. So let's come to the question side. Exercise 1 is like, what does the following statement tell us about Mr. Brown's onion? So she dug up her onion with a bulldozer and did tops with a chainsaw. So you have to tell me that which statement is correct. Mr. Brown grew ordinary onions or Mr. Brown grew gigantic onions. So basically you can know, because gigantic onions are going to be the great information because they were not extraordinary because they're not humans. So then we are having onion soup. So then let's come to the next part of that. So let me read it. Onion soup. At night, Mr. Brown woke up. It was Bulger Bunny and his Bulger gang. Oh, cried Mr. Brown. It's not you screaming. We are after your money, growled Bulgoger Bunny. You're bulgogers and looking thin, said Mr. Brown. Would you like me to make a pot of my onion soup for you? Yes, shouted the bulgoger. So here you can look that gang, bulgoger, glow. These are red because there may be some important information in them. That's why they are red, isn't that? So let's take another look. Let's read it twice. So let's do that. Onion soup. At night, Mr. Brown woke up. It was Bulgoger Bunny and his Bulgoger gang. Oh, cried Mrs. Brown. It's no use screaming. We are after your money, groaned Bulgoger Bunny. You're Bulgogers and looking thin, said Mrs. Brown. Would you like me to make a pot of my onion soup for you? Yes, shouted the burglars. So let's do the exercise of this one. So you have to match and join the words with their meanings. Like meanings were not given, but you have to think. So column and column A. Bulgoger. What's a bulgoger? It's a group of criminals. No. It's to make a loud noise in the throat. No. So it's a thief, I think. So because it's a thief because they were actually very shouting, and I think so they were thieves. So it's thief. And then gang. What's a gang? A gang is basically a group. Whenever you're going to look at a gang and a group, that's going to be that. Ground means not like large is left, so to make a low sound in the throat is basically growl. Onion soup. Now next part. Mrs. Brown began to peel her great big onions. She carried a little. The burglars carried like watering cans. Pitter patter. Mrs. Brown began to chop her onions. She cried a little. The burglars cried like garden horses. Mr. Brown began to slice her onions. She carried a little. The burglars cried like floods. Run, run, cried Burglary. burglar bunny ran away from Mrs. Brownie and her onions. All the burglars ran away. Mrs. Brown smiled a little. Then she went on making her famous onion soup. So you can see peel, chop, slice. These all are read because there must be important point in the exercise. So let's revise it again. Mrs. Brown began to peel her great big onion. She cried a little. The burglars cried like watering cans. Pitter patter. Mrs. Brown began to chop her onion. She cried a little. The burglars cried like garden hoses. Mrs. Brownie began to slice her onion. She cried a little. The burglars cried like floods. Run, run, cried burglar Bunny. Run away from Mrs. Brownie and her onions. All the burglars ran away. Mrs. Brown smiled a little. Then she went on making her famous onion soup. So let's solve exercise related to it. So you have to imagine join the word with your picture. So peel basically means to cut into slices. So I think this is peel. Chop basically means to cut. Also peel basically means whenever you're having a cot does the covering, the outer covering of something, so you have to peel that. And chop basically means to cut. Slice basically means also to cut, like you have to in slices, and chop that are same. So guys, this was my today's lecture. I hope so you like it. Like I have no words to describe that you like it or you did not like it, but I hope so this would be interesting and much easier. So thank you for attending my English class. So see you in the next lecture. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz, and tell me in the comment box what type of videos you want the more related to study. Allah Hafiz.